This video is to show how to enable the EQ um, within CSR 8675 using the universal front-end tool, and then how to toggle between some preset EQs presets that are already in there using a PIO. Um, so this is after you've built the VM headset sync application and programmed your 8675 board. I've already done this, and I've already paired it with my phone, and I'm currently streaming music to the board now, even though you can't hear it. So what we'll need to do is enable the equal EQ settings, so we can go ahead and toggle through some presets that we put in there. So you just go to the ADK 4.0 tools, universal front-end tool, and make sure you have your USB to SPI programmer connected. And what we'll want to do is connect using this link button. Click connect, and it'll pop you to the music manager. Now, in order to connect, you actually have to have the DSP running. So you should pair the headset with the phone and start streaming music right away as you're connected. If you are not connected and streaming music and the DSP is not running any type of codec or streaming music, you won't be able to open this music manager. So you must be streaming music on the dev board in order to access this this page. So you can click on DSP, it's already connected. You can monitor the DSP, what's going on, what's happening right now, and by doing so, you can monitor in real time. Let's see, yeah, I'm connected, and or you cannot monitor at all. What we can do is the user preset EQ settings are here. Normally, this will be checked off by default. What you'll need to do is uncheck mark the bypass. By default, if you've never done this before, you'll have this bypass checked off. So you'll need to uncheck mark that and uncheck mark flat. And you can have up to 6 maximum EQ banks. I only have 5 set up here. And then you can toggle between the active EQ banks. So EQ bank 1 is kind of set at default, and then it's basically flat. EQ bank 2, I chose it to add as a bass boost right here. EQ 3, let's do a treble boost. I already have it set there. And then for EQ 4, I chose rock. EQ 5, I clicked jazz. Once you applied again, these are the preset EQs. I didn't bother to go ahead and try to dramatically change the EQ thing, EQ frequency settings here. So once you select those, then you get to hit apply, and then OK. Then what you'll need to do is synchronize these settings. You actually change the settings in the tool itself, and then so you will need to download these parameters into the 8675 flash. So you will need to do is download parameters. You'll get this warning: the PC DSP parameters do not match. Do you want to compare? You can go ahead and compare, but it's telling you what's changed. These are the PS keys that have changed. PS key settings that have changed a bit for the configuration. So just go ahead and click yes. You'll want to download the new setting. Yeah, just making sure everything's so that you should be done now with the EQ. So now you basically have 5 EQ banks with all these presets here. So we have bass boost, treble boost, rock, and jazz, and then a default, which is flat. Okay. You can then go ahead and close the front end tool. And then what we'll launch now is the close program. We'll go ahead and then launch the A2DP sync configuration tool, because we'll need to add some button interfaces. So what we can do is just go ahead and select your USB to SPI adapter. I'm going to go ahead and read from the device. Let's see here. Sorry, let me read from the device. Sorry, click wrote, and we'll go into. Let's start off by adding the button. So we'll go into interface, user events, and what we want to do. This is the default headset events. Let me go ahead and make this bigger. And we'll need to add a user event. So here in the very bottom, I added this user event already. This is switch audio mode. So when you add, you can choose the list of events. The switch audio mode is basically the event of switching between the different EQ bands. So I have that selected here. There are other EQ events listed here: user EQ on, user EQ off, or toggle. It's already on by default kind of in this application. Then we'll need to assign a logical input. So PIO 7 on the actual dev board, actually on my dev board, I'm using an 8670, is basically the one free button that's not being used. So I chose the PIO 7, but what you do here is you select the logical input. Right here, I chose logical input 7, and the reason why I chose it because I can tell it's not that logical input is not being used by any other event. All right, and then you want to state what state do you want this event to be active in. So I only want the EQ to be active when I'm streaming A2DP. So you want to select A2DP while A2DP streaming and click OK. And then you will want to do what the button behavior is. I chose a single button press, which is SH single, which is a quick release debounce button. So now that we've got this set up, you also need to map the logical input with an actual PIO. So again, I'm choosing PIO 7 and mapping it to logical input ID 7. So we will go to buttons, and I will go into no, not buttons. I'm sorry. It is under. Is it under buttons? Translation. Sorry. So here, logical input 7. I'm mapping it to PIO 7. This was originally on the 8670 CapSense 3, but I changed it to PIO 7. So now, by pressing that button, which is physically to PIO 7, it's mapped to logical input ID 7. And the last thing I want to add is a tone. You want to give some indication that the button has been pressed. Instead of just listening for the EQ change, you probably want to add a button event. So actually, that you will probably want to do a tone on the actual event itself instead of the button press. So here's the list of tone events. All the way down, I scrolled down and I added this line 34 here. And again, I want to generate a tone upon this switch audio mode event. So it's the same type of selection on what event I'm choosing. And then I want to give it a short high tone. So it's a little quick high frequency tone. that will be played throughout the audio output when the audio mode is switched. And so, just like in the universal front-end tool, you will need to write these parameters that we just created. So you'll do write to device. And then finally, for all of the PS keys that we set using this tool and a universal front-end, we'll do a reset device. And so after you reset the device, all these configurations will now be in effect. So when you power up your board and have it reconnect your phone, that functionality should be there. And I'll give a quick demo of my board with these added events. So this is my demo hardware for the EQ PIO project that I just kind of went over with on my computer. So I have the board paired with my Samsung phone here. I've already got a ongoing connection. I'm streaming Pandora. I've just got it on pause right now. But basically, I know I'll cover up this LED, but this is PIO 7 on my board. This PIO right here. And when I press this PIO, it will toggle through the EQ settings now. Hopefully you can hear the difference between the different bands. Hopefully it's a music that will have different bass and treble frequencies. So let me just go ahead and play and see how it toggles through the EQ. So that should be flat right now. There's treble. I'm sorry, treble boost. That should be rock. And that should be jazz. And that should be flat. Notice every time I push the button, you'll hear the beat. That was the user event tone that we generated. And so I can go ahead and cycle through again. And then the next one should be bass boost. Let me go to the next song. So here's a good bass boost song. Bass song to hit a bass boost. That's kind of hard to hear. Treble boost. Jazz. Or rock and jazz. Flat. Bass. And treble, you can hear the difference. Into the